Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Radio Days with Gary Music Miller. I'm Dave Black, your co-host. This is the aforementioned Gary Music Miller, longtime voice at WKEE, held many positions there, and was on your radio dial for about 800 years or so. I don't know. It's in that area. Well,
31.
Give or take a few.
31, and it's still longer than it should have been.
Well,
1978 to 2009.
Yeah,
in case you're taking notes.
Yeah. Like I've told people, they've talked about it, and I've said, that's an eternity in the business.
Oh God, yeah.
It's just it's unheard of anymore.
So I know there are certain people who have been on the air longer than me, but I don't know whether they've been on the air nonstop.
Right, a fixture somewhere, so to speak. Well, we're coming to you from the Museum of Radio and Technology, 1640 4th Avenue in Huntington, as we always do. They've been gracious enough to allow us to use this fine facility, and we appreciate them allowing us to do that. You get a chance to come out and take a look at all their exhibits and everything they have to offer you. It would be it'd be worth your time. So before we get any farther down the line with our information and things of that nature, Gary's got something to do here today, which is a
little off the beaten path.
I don't know anything about it, but also at the end of it, we have a little stump Gary here, so we're going to try to get him on this, and I think he's going to get it. I have faith in him.
You have faith in me? Okay. Yeah. I hope I do.
So go ahead and peel out and take us out of here.
First of all, let me just I haven't thanked anybody for a long time. Thank you. If you're a first, second, third time viewer, thank you very much for being with us. We hope you'll consider subscribing. And if you are a subscriber, tune in every chance we get, every chance you get to watch us. We appreciate it. Wouldn't mind at all if you would share this, especially today. Today's off the beaten path, so to speak. Something that I don't think any other shows of this type probably will cover, because they may not have been in the record business, in the radio business the way I was. So we're going to talk about that. I guess I'll get right into it. Some people ask me what we do with the show, Radio Days with Gary Music Miller. It both has the name radio and the word radio and the word music in it. And it's sort of what we do, radio and music. And we started the show aimed at radio audiences and radio people and guests and so forth. And as we went through basically everybody we could think of, and some people actually turned us down, didn't want to do it. But it has become more of a music show. And we will talk about music as far back as the 50s, before, I suppose, if even one of us ever needs to do that, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even covers in 2000s. I was music director at WKEE from 1978 to 2009, 31 years. So, and today I'm going to delve into something. We talk about music. We talk about groups. We talk about solo acts. We talk about bands. We talk about music albums. We talk about singles. We talk about whatever we had in the cassette, CD, or whatever. I don't think this topic has probably ever been discussed by anybody else. I want to talk today, and this I think you'll find extremely interesting. So I hope you'll last through the show, not only to hear me get stumped, but to because I did some research into this, and nobody's ever really talked about a record label. And I don't really know how things work today. I don't know whether today's most popular artists have to have a record label, or whether stuff is just downloaded to them or uploaded, or CD's gone out and being bought or whatever. But back in the radio days when I worked, I started in 71. I worked at 3 different stations between 71 and 78. And in 78, I started at Key. And one thing that's very, very important to realize is that record companies really are the reason for the music that you heard. Music, we've talked about all those other things I've said we've talked about, but we never really discussed the label. Without a label, a record just almost couldn't make it. There are a couple of exceptions, but no matter who you are, no matter how big your name is in the business, and I want to mention a guy's name here in just a second, who was huge as a producer, and he opened his own record label. He started his own record label, but he had to be distributed by a major record label. Now, everybody knows RCA, Columbia, Capitol Records, Atlantic Records. Everybody knows those labels. But I'm going to talk today about a record label and run down its roster to you, because the roster is really kind of incredible for a small label. This is a fondly remembered label by people in the music industry, and it's not really known to people today. The record label I'm going to talk about is Millennium Records. Now, the question is, what was Millennium Records? Millennium Records was established by a guy named Jimmy Ianner. Jimmy Ianner ran the label from 1976 to 1983. So it lasted about as long as a normal radio job lasts. But the record company, it's fun to me because I started at Key in 78. Millennium Records went into business in 76, and they folded in 1983, and I was at Key during that entire period. They basically got from the beginnings of disco to through the disco period to the end of disco, and then they were out. But we're not going to be talking disco today. Jimmy Ianner, as I mentioned, was a prominent record producer. He decided to start his own record label. His label from 1976 to 79, Millennium Records, piggybacked onto Casablanca Records. And in 1979 to 1983, that was from 76 to 79. In 1979 to 1983, they piggybacked, they were distributed by RCA Records. Now, what I'm going to say means the most, I guess, in that the piggybacking always kind of confused me. Was it RCA or was it Millennium? Was it Casablanca or was it Millennium? And they tried to explain it to me that there was some kind of a deal worked up between the major label and the minor label. So the minor label would submit its stuff to the major label. The major label would make sure the stuff got to the music director's desk, which would have been me. And it was my job from there to go to the program director and or general manager if needed be, and talk about the records we ended up putting on. So there's a little bit of difference between from 76 to 83. As I said, 76 to 79, Casablanca Records picked it up. I think the first big hit on Casablanca was by Kiss. And Kiss sort of started that label off, and by the end of the period, we'll be talking about a Donna Summer record in a couple of minutes. But then RCA picked them up in 1979, carried them through 1983, and RCA worked very hard on bringing Canadian acts to Millennium Records, and RCA worked on I've mentioned some Canadian acts that I happen to like very much, and what can I say? Some of them made it, some of them didn't. My last two You Gotta Hear This segments, which we do toward the end of the show, lead you to new music that you've never heard before, and a lot of those artists are Canadian. And probably before I go any further, I should mention the passing of David Clayton Thomas of Blood, Sweat, and Tears, because I inadvertently compared one of the guys on my You Gotta Hear This segment to David Clayton Thomas, and then he passes away. So I'll promise not to mention you.
Please don't compare me with anybody.
Somebody just passed away.
Bonnie Tyler.
Bonnie Tyler, who everybody equates with Total Eclipse of the Heart. A lot of times they forget she did It's a Heartache. And I was told that actually Miley Cyrus recorded a version as a tribute to Bonnie, who did It's a Heartache, which actually I prefer It's a Heartache to Total Eclipse of the Heart. But don't tell them, and any of them through that. Total Eclipse had the same feel as Meatloaf records, and they were both written by I believe Jim Steinman was the guy's name. And Steinman wrote these long, many Meatloaf songs go on 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah. Total Eclipse of the Heart went on as long. And I want to mention the roster of people that I have heard of. And these are the guys and gals and people that ended up on Millennium Records. Brooklyn Dreams may or may not mean anything to you. Will in a minute. Chilliwack. Chilliwack is actually an area in Canada.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
A town in Canada.
Yeah, probably a town, a county, or what do they call them? Provinces.
It's in western, northwestern Canada.
So RCA was successful in bringing Chilliwack down and has one of Dave and my favorite songs. A guy named Bruce Cockburn. Now his name is spelled Cockburn. And of course, everybody said Cockburn as soon as it came out. And the record label would call and say, first of all, you want to teach your DJs, the guy's name's Cockburn. It's Bruce Cockburn. So, and Bruce had a record or two here. Frankie and the Knockouts, a group that you'll remember, hopefully. And then one guy nobody remembers. I don't even think his own family remembers him. Joey Travolta had an album out, released 2 albums, and they were both on Millennium Records. And I'm assuming Joey is John's brother. Ellen is their mother, and Joey tried it 2 albums later. He's gone. But how about names like this? Tommy James. Tommy James is huge. Don McLean. Don McLean is huge. How did these guys end up on Millennium Records? Well, we'll talk a little bit about each one of the groups and artists, and I'll be as brief as possible. I started with Brooklyn Dreams. You may have mentioned, you may have remembered that, you may not. Brooklyn Dreams did not ever have a solo single hit, but they released 4 very soulful albums, and they collaborated with Donna Summer. It was Donna Summer and Brooklyn Dreams on a song called Heaven Knows. They released, as I said, 4 albums. Heaven Knows was put out in 1979 and was the biggest hit that Brooklyn Dreams ever had, and one of many that Donna Summer had. It reached number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. And when we mention songs that reach a certain number, it goes without saying, we're almost always quoting Billboard magazine's Hot 100 chart. So if we skip that, that's where this information comes from. Bruce Cockburn was a Canadian singer, so the RCA did its work recruiting him down into the States. He was a songwriter, and he worked. His work spanned over 5 decades. Can't believe that for a guy who is not associated with any particular song, at least here in the States. He over 50 years, over 5 decades of songs. He released over 30 albums in Canada. He had dozens of singles there, including his biggest U.S. single, which only went to number 29, I believe, in 1979. Song was called Wondering Where the Lions Are. I don't remember the song. And I do remember Bruce Coburn's name, and we played the song apparently, or played a Bruce Coburn song, or else I wouldn't know how to say the name, and I'd be saying it all wrong. But it reached either 21 or 29 in 1979, and that was Bruce Coburn's only hit. Canadians listening are going to go, what? Because he's like, 50 singles or whatever.
That would be a good song to remember if you got lost in a safari.
Well, exactly. Maybe why it didn't catch on so well here. We don't wondering where the lions are, and you go through the zoo and there's no lions. Where did they go?
I'd tell him to stop lying.
Exactly. I mentioned Chilliwack. It's Chilliwack or Chilliwack. Chilliwack did a song that I did not get a lot of information about, but they had a top 10 single here in America called Gone, Gone, Gone. She's been gone so long. Gone, gone, gone. She's been gone so long. Gone, gone, gone so long.
Yes.
We'd always have to fill the little but I won't make a big deal out of Chilliwack, but Chilliwack did come from I'm sorry, not Chilliwack. I'm confused. Chilliwack had the song Gone, 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 didn't they? Or did I screw that up totally? I don't think I did. Down to Frankie and the Knockouts. Nobody cares anyway. Frankie and the Knockouts did have a song. They were an American band that formed in New Jersey, and they were fronted by Frankie
Previte. Spelled Privite.
Dave had to tell me about Frankie, and he apparently this is one thing that Dave came in very handy for, because he knew Frankie and the Knockouts. They were fronted, like you said, by Frankie Previte, and Sweetheart was a tremendous song. Went to number 10 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 in 1981. Of course, it's going to be, I've got to bring up 1981 every chance I get. But Sweetheart was out in 1981. He had two other top 10 or top 30 hits in America, and I don't remember either one of them. And the thing is, I really would be interested in finding out where they went, what happened to them. After they released Sweetheart, these other two songs, they disappeared from sight. So
he was also
where did they go?
He was also a fairly prolific songwriter as well. He wrote for several other artists.
Well, maybe that's where he just decided to disband and live off the wages he won from that he earned from songwriting.
But it's funny that the name was spelled Franke. For Frankie instead of IE at the end. So a lot of people would get that mistaken, but that's how he spelled it.
Probably called Frank by a lot of people, but he was Frankie. Frankie. Left the I out. I mean, it's the two biggest acts on Millennium Records. Tommy James. I don't know how big that name sounds to you. I know our older listeners will appreciate the fact. Tommy James and the Shondells from 1964 to 1969 had 14 top 40 hits in the 1960s, including, and some of these songs were redone, which shows the power of what Tommy James could bring to whoever he was around. Money Money was Tommy James and the Shondells hit. I believe that was redone by Billy Idol, I believe. Crystal Blue Persuasion, Crimson and Clover, Hanky Panky, My Baby Does a Hanky Panky. These were all huge hits. And he did one song, I Think We're Alone Now. And that was a big hit song, and it turned out to be a #1 single in every other city in the world but Huntington, West Virginia, Ashland, Kentucky, and Ironton, Ohio. And I'll tell you the story about that in a minute. But it did go to #1, I'm almost certain, by Tiffany on MCA Records. We played on Millennium. Those were all on whatever their original record label was. I didn't write that down, but after all these hits, you wonder why they would move to another label. Maybe they were going in a different direction. Tommy went out on his own, and Tommy did a song called "3 Times in Love." It went to number 134. It was the biggest hit Tommy had by himself. I guess the Shondells helped him with Dragging the Line, because I always thought that was his last hit song. But on Millennium Records, Tommy James had one release, 3 Times in Love, and in 1979 went to number 134 on the Billboard Hot 100, which is hard to do on a Hot 100 to end up at 134. Must have been
Hot 150, maybe.
And we got to mention Don McLean. Don't got to mention him. Want to mention him? An incredible artist who revolutionized music in a way. His hit song "American Pie" went number 1 all over the world. I looked at the list of countries. There were 2 countries. I didn't write them down. 2 countries the song did not go to number 1 on. But Don McLean, this is interesting. Don McLean was rejected on Media Arts Records. That's what he released. His song, American Pie, he was rejected 72 times from 72 different people. And United Artists finally bit the bait and said, took the bait and said, this can be a hit. This could be a hit. Well, a lot of artists, labels rather, were turned off by the length of the song, by what the song meant, who Don was referring to. There have been all kinds of stories told about that song, and what the day the music died referred to who, and was it the Chevy? I drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. What does all that mean? And Don took a lot of that, maybe with him. I don't know. I don't know whether he's still around or not. But I never see him anymore. But he was rejected. He released his song on his own label, I guess, pretty much, Media Arts Records, 72 times. United Artists pick it up, made it to number 1. That was on United Artists. We're talking about Millennium Records today. On Millennium Records, he released in 1978 his version, which I think is just absolutely magnificent. I played it on key. I said, this song's going on. It's his version of a song called "Crying" by Roy Orbison. And it's an unbelievable range. And the end of the song, I'm not going to try to imitate it, but the end of the song, he hits high note after high note after high note. And Don brought a very polished version of "Crying" in 1978 to the radio stations, and it was another. I believe it made it. I know it was a top 10 single. It may have made it to top 5, and he also released on Millennium a song called "Castles in the Air," 1981. That was his first release on his original Media Arts record, but didn't do anything. It didn't chart anywhere. He re-released "Castles in the Air," and that was his 3rd, I believe, top 40 song. So, contrary to popular belief, Don McLean is not a one-hit wonder.
No.
And I believe that's pretty much my whole story. I thought you would be interested. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. There's one more piece to the puzzle.
And by the way, Don McLean's song "American Pie" was referencing the day the music died. It was referencing the Buddy Holly airplane crash that he died in.
Well, there were so many different parts to that song that it's difficult to put your finger on.
Well, it's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes long. The album version.
Where did the show begin? Yeah, and when it was released here, I remember seeing it. Part one, it was broken up into two parts. They didn't edit it. They part one was the part you heard on the radio, and then if you wanted to hear the whole thing, you'd have to flip it over real quick and listen to part two, or buy the album.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to mention my friend Frank Carter, who does not have an I in his name. Frank is American Pie is one of his favorite, if not his favorite song of all time, and he loves our show. So Frank, thank you. There was one other song. This is going to blow you away. Maybe we'll try it's blowing them away. Maybe we'll try a Stump Dave song.
It'll work.
It will work. Well, it might work.
It will.
1977 was the only #1 song on Millennium Records.
Oh, gosh.
The song went to #1. It was the only #1 song that Millennium Records had.
Wow.
It was recorded by a guy named Domenico Minardo. Does that mean anything to you?
Absolutely zero. Domenico Minardo.
Domenico Minardo had a #1 song, 1977, and it had a lot to do with what else was going on in other media in 77.
Domenico.
The original version was released by John Williams. John Williams did the theme to a motion picture, and he followed that up with the theme to Superman, which hit me. I was like, "Oh, this is a great song." Didn't become a hit, but
I'm drawing a blank.
Drawing a blank. 1977, Millennium Records' only #1 song from an album called Space Disco Star Wars. It was the disco version of Star Wars by Nico.
Oh.
They were, and so little did anybody realize Domenico Minardo would become Nico. And
that explains it.
It amazes me that it amazes me that Miko's version went to #1, and then I guess because it was the disco era, it beat out John Williams' original version of the song that also was out at the same time. I don't know what number the Williams version peaked at, but Miko's version went all the way to #1. And I promise to explain the I Think We're Alone Now story very soon. I've told this story, I think, on the show before, but you may have missed it. Tiffany released a song called I Think We're Alone Now, and I just didn't get it. But I said, I'm going to do what I do with every other hit song. I'm going to give it a try. So a fellow named Jim Allen was running the night show, I think, at the time. Could have been Ernie G. Anderson, who also did our night shift. But we had a battle of the band sort of thing at 8 o'clock every night. And for 3 weeks straight, I ran I Think We're Alone Now by Tiffany against an off-label, never heard of, a group called Revolution Inc. I'm probably getting that wrong. It's probably Relation. It's Relation Inc. I don't even remember the name of the group, but it came on a bright pink label, and I listened to it as I did everything else that came out, and it was an incredible version. In fact, you can find Relation Inc.'s version of I Think We're Alone Now on YouTube. It has definitely been posted on YouTube. But every time I ran the two songs, I ran them for 3 weeks straight. At 8 o'clock on Thursday night, we did both songs, and 90 to 10, everybody preferred the Relation Inc. song to Tiffany's version, which ended up going to #1 without my help, I believe. But the MCA people weren't real happy with me. But this is where consultant comes into play. the consultant, I said, should I be playing this song? You know, and he said, Gary, what's working for you? And I said, well, every time we run it against, Tiffany Relation Inc. comes out on the top. 9 out of 10 votes. And he said, play the Relation Inc. Play the Relation Inc. And don't ever be scared to play something that you know is a hit. And he said, he actually kind of agreed with me. His name was Steve Perrin, and he was programming a station, I believe, in Kansas City. And I would speak to him weekly about songs that I wasn't sure about, songs that I knew about I had the clearance to play, but songs that I wondered about, I would call Steve and see. I trusted him. He was at every convention we had, and I got to know him pretty well. And so we played Relation Inc. And I hope I tried to get a hold of the band, tried to get a hold of the label. And it is on YouTube, so somebody's got it, but I don't know where you would even go to find that record.
I think most of the people didn't get to the mall to hear Tiffany sing. So
that's probably true. Yeah. That's probably true.
She was on an episode of the Goldbergs once a few years back.
I believe that.
Yeah,
I believe that she was a big star. And it was kind of the Debbie Gibson versus Tiffany era. You know, you either really loved Debbie and didn't care for Tiffany, or you loved Tiffany and you didn't care for Debbie.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. You liked Debbie or you liked Tiffany. But they were both kind of going against each other. I think Debbie had the record as the youngest, maybe top 40 hit at the time. I don't know now. They're probably all young. But,
yeah. Didn't Donny Osmond go to -- with a like Go Away Little Girl or something like that? Did he?
Yeah, sure.
He might have been very young then too. You know?
Yeah. Donny Osmond could have been. Maria was 14.
Yeah,
when Paper Roses was out. So, but for some reason, I'm thinking maybe Debbie was only 13 at the time. So,
maybe, who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So that's our story about Millennium Records. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope, especially if you're in the record business or radio business, you remember the label. It's very fondly remembered by the people that remember it. And they brought some great music to American radio.
Oh.
So that's
all right.
it for me.
Well, Gary stumped me. Now I'm hoping he's not going to be stumped with this one. He's on a little bit of a slide here with our stumping questions here, but I'm going to try to get him to let's build his confidence back up here.
Kind of the way I did you with the teasing. You can tease me if you want to.
This song is from back in 1971. Wow. However, you should remember it.
That was my first year in radio.
It peaked at number 17 on Billboard's Hot 100.
Okay.
Went to number 6 on the AC chart. Now, the AC Adult Contemporary.
It wasn't Delaney and Bonnie and Friends, was it?
No, it was not.
Okay.
And it was released on Columbia's Entrance label.
I don't remember Entrance Records. They must have been out of the business by the time I got into taking phone calls from record writers.
I'm going to tell you the band members.
Okay.
It consisted of Rick Yancey, Cheryl Parks, and Richard Manerga. Okay. I hope I'm saying that right. Manerga. That's about as good as I can pronounce it without butchering it anymore. And they were named. The band was named after a short-lived TV show in the 60s.
And the song was out in 1971, and it went to number 17.
Right.
Is that correct?
And I'm going to I'll give you this. I'll give you who it was covered by.
I don't think there was a song called I Spy.
No.
I don't think there was a Batman had a song. Okay, who is it covered by?
This thing was covered by quite a few. Tom Paul and the Glazer Brothers in 71 hit number 7 with it on the country chart. Lobo in 74 reached 43 on the top 100 with it. Reuben Howell in 1974 also charted on the Hot 100. I can't remember where. I didn't write it down. It's my fault. Twiggy, the model, in 1977 reached number 35 in the UK with it.
Wow.
Dr. Hook in 1982 was a hit in Europe. There's a guy named Lonnie Mack, Leo Ketka. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Also, Tribes, Wheat Ridge, and Mike Gordon are also noted as having a hit with this song.
A lot of covers.
Yeah,
a lot of covers.
Many.
I'm drawing a blank. The reason I brought up Delaney, Bonnie, and Friends is that there was a song called "If Not for You" that I remember playing. It was a pop song. This was a hit, and then we went to number 17. Mm-hmm. It's not that god awful, softly whispering "I love you." Right?
No, okay, it is not.
I forgive me for that. That's not.
It's not even Sons of My Father.
That's not. Yeah.
Whatever.
Not,
what if I give you? I'll give you the title. I'll go ahead and give you the title if you can tell me who did it.
Okay.
It's called Rings.
Rings. Didn't have anything to do with Mike Nesmith, did it?
No, not a thing.
Okay, I believe he did a song called Rings. Rings, rings, the telephone rings. And I wonder if that's the song we're talking about. Once again, I think you stumped me because I do not remember it. Maybe if you give me an initial.
You got the song correct by
Rings, rings, telephone rings. And now, see, I remember hearing Mike Nesmith do that song, and I think he may have written it, but Cimarron.
Exactly. Cimarron, spelled Cymerron, spelled differently than Cimarron Strip, which was the television show that they took the name from.
Brain surgery, and it goes back to here, and I'm looking balder every show. I have to go through all those cards in my mind, and all of a sudden Cimarron popped into my mind.
So we're gonna give you a win on that one.
Well, I appreciate that. I remember this song. Once I started singing the song in my mind, then it came to me that they had done the song.
But that was a
good one though.
That was from back 55 years ago.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
What have we got? Where have we been since then? To the moon and back.
I guess we exactly.
Excuse me.
Well, you know what? I think I'm done. Other than my normal, you got to hear this is. I think I'm gonna maybe sidestep it.
Okay.
For everybody's love.
We'll get back to it.
I tell you what, if you've not heard "Sweetheart," we both agree on this. If you've not heard "Sweetheart" by Frankie and the Knockouts, or it's been a while since you've heard either Frankie and the Knockouts' "Sweetheart" or Chilliwack's "Gone, Gone, Gone, You've Been Gone So Long," you should look both of those songs up.
Frankie Previtt had one of the great singing voices in pop music.
And "Sweetheart" was
unbelievable
terrific song.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I am very surprised that they didn't go farther.
I am too. So I
don't know what the deal was, but they broke up shortly after. It was a couple of years after the song was released, and they went their separate ways, I believe.
Yeah. Well.
However, that song has a special place for me, and so I'll leave it at that.
Okay, I will.
So I believe we are finished for right now.
Think so too.
Give everybody a rundown of where they can get a hold of you.
The best place to get me is on by email. The email address is rdwgmm, Radio Days with Gary Music Miller, an acronym, I guess. Short version, rdwgmm@gmail.com. That's used very seldom, and I'd really love to see it pick up and you guys connect with me that way, directly that way. I'm also on Twitter which will always be Twitter to me, even though now it's X. I check Twitter, Gary Music Miller, at Gary Music Miller on Twitter, and I've been on there since 2009. 2009 is when I signed on Twitter, and it's still an active account, although I'm not sure many of the people that are listed as following me are still active. I know a few of them have passed away.
Yeah, Meadowlark Lemon does not follow you anymore.
I mentioned Meadowlark Lemon, and he wrote me and said he's gone. So that happened. I mean, I became friends with the guy who wrote "Na Na Hey Hey Kissin' Goodbye." His first name was Gary, and he was Steam. Steam was the original name of the group. That it was like a session museum thing. But to find out it was really him, he sent me an updated version of the song. He had redone it like 2 or 3 years prior, and at any rate, he passed away shortly after we became friends. I have on my friends list people like Marie Osmond that follow me, Crystal Gale, who everybody had a crush on back in the day, I think. And
why not?
There are more that aren't coming to me right now, but people. The very first celebrity to ever follow me was David Faustino, from Married with Children.
Bud Bundy.
Bud Bundy. Yeah, he was the very first celebrity to follow me.
Do you know who follows me on X?
I can imagine.
A former beauty pageant winner, Kimberly Pressler.
Okay.
A lot of you may not know who that is, but one fine-looking woman, and very, very kind and polite, and has messaged me with me several times, and she's very, very, very nice. But that's my claim to fame, I guess.
Well, yeah. My favorite celebrity, who's now is gone, answered every letter that I wrote him, every tweet that I sent him. He answered every one of them, and that was B.J. Thomas. And
that's nice.
I miss being able to hop on and talk to him and say, it's funny. I just watched Growing Pains, and they're running the whole season of the show on a network. They're called Hit Sitcoms on WB. And B.J. Thomas sung the theme song. And then 6 or so seasons in, it was B.J. Thomas and Dusty Springfield. And then the following year, it was B.J. Thomas and Kim Carnes. So if I had a chance to ask, I never asked him about that, but why did they keep pairing you with these girls when they let you fly solo for 5 years by yourself? But B.J. Thomas, somebody else, nicest man I ever met in music, was, and I'm going to forget his name. He did.
He was so nice.
Michael Damian. Michael Damian did Rock On, 1980 something, 1987,
88, somewhere around there.
He did Rock On and
the David Essex song.
We've wasted enough time. I'll tell you the Michael Damian story. People ask for these stories, and I've already told them, and I realize not everybody's heard every episode. I'll be real brief with this. Michael Damian came to town to something called the Star Party. The Star Party was where celebrities showed up. I met Mickey Thomas from Starship and the Elvin Bishop Group. I got to spend an hour or 2 hours with him. And Michael Damian came to town, and we had dinner at a place called Rebels and Redcoats, which was next door to a bowling alley.
It was inside of Colonial Lanes.
Inside of Colonial Lanes, yeah. And so Michael, his sister, my wife, and myself had dinner. Nicest guy in the world. Just talked through the whole thing. spoke just like he was a regular guy. And anytime I send him a tweet, he always responds. He's been very, very kind to me over the years. And we're leaving the restaurant. Here's the story that we're leaving the restaurant, and a couple of girls passed by us. And I think he might have said hi. I might have said hi. They might have said hi. But we get to the car that the record rep is driving, and it was the record rep also joined us for dinner. It was 5 of us at dinner. Anyway, we hear this blood-curdling scream, and we hear this ah, and we're getting into the car, and I looked over at Michael, who was sitting up front, and I said, "I think somebody just figured out who you are." And so
well, he was on a soap opera.
Yeah, he was on Young and the Restless, I do believe. And if I'm wrong about that, I may be wrong, but he was a soap opera star, so they would know what he looked like. But who's expecting to walk into a restaurant in Huntington, West Virginia, and see Michael Damian? And the girls, it didn't hit the girls till we heard the scream. And we kind of waited a second to see if they'd show up again, but they didn't. I think they were too embarrassed or something.
Well, you thought that, but they actually stepped out in front of a bus.
That's right.
But that's neither here nor there.
So I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
That's it. We appreciate each and every one of you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. They might enjoy some of this foolishness we carry on with as well. So, with that said, for Gary Music Miller, I'm Dave Black. We are going to leave you for now. And you're probably saying, oh, God, thanks. But whatever happens, take care of everybody that you love. Be kind to them. And
absolutely.
I have to say this before we close.
Sure. I
had a close friend who his wife sent me a message, a text message yesterday that he had passed away. And his name was David Gill. He served his country. He was in the Air Force. He served at the White House. He was directly involved with doing things for the president. And he was in communications. He ran into some ill health recently, and he succumbed to his illness. And I am very sorry about that. And I messaged his wife back, and I told her that I was extremely saddened by his loss. He was a good guy. So anything can happen at any time. Plus, Minnie, rest in peace, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, and only a few people will know what that means. So, folks, that's it for us. Take care. God bless, and we'll see you next time. So long.